Good afternoon, learners. We are here to discuss on a very relevant topic, that is Introduction to International Banking. It is part of the MBA program. The course code is MMPB-002. I am here to discuss about what is international banking, what are its importance, what are its functions, and what are the challenges faced in international banking operations. So friends, first of all, let us come to the word bank. Whenever you think about a bank, what comes in your mind? You basically imagine a safe place where you can keep money, borrow money, and send money. That's a bank. A bank is basically a financial institution or financial intermediary that accepts deposits, make loans, and provides other financial services. The word bank comes from an Italian word banca, which means bench. The word was used to describe the bench like counters where basically the money lenders, money changers used to conduct business. Now, once we know about what is the meaning of a bank, so bank is basically an institution which accepts deposits for the purpose of lending, and in addition to that, it also provides other financial services. So what is international banking? When banks operates across different countries, helping businesses and individuals manage money worldwide, it is known as international banking. International banking, in very simple terms, refers to the practice of providing financial services across international boundaries. Now, what is the importance of international banking? So there are if a company, let us assume a company in India which wants to buy machines from Germany, it needs to pay in euros, which is the currency of Germany. International banks help with currency exchange and secure payments. So why international banking is important, friends? Because it facilitates global trade, number one. Number two, it helps in foreign investment and economic growth of an economy. Third is, it also helps in currency exchange and in stability of any economy. As far as the MNCs are concerned, multinational corporations, these international banks basically supports MNCs in various banking operations. Number fifth is, it helps in accessing to diverse financial services like wealth management, trade finance, and credit facilities. Sixth one is, the sixth important function which basically international banking plays is enhancing financial connectivity among the nations with the help of foreign exchange operations. And not last but the least, it helps in risk diversification. How international banks helps in risk diversification, friends? Because it helps in investment in multiple currencies and multiple countries also. So by investing in multiple currencies and multiple countries, it basically helps organizations, individuals to diversify the risk. Now, what are the various functions of international banking? Friends, I am using international banking and international bank. So international bank is a financial institution, and the functions which basically international banks perform, the process which they perform is known as international banking. So now let us come to what are the functions of international banking. Number one and most important function is, it helps in currency exchange. They help in converting one currency into another. Friends, you might be knowing foreign exchange is the price of one currency in the terms of another. So let us assume if you travel to USA from Nigeria, you need to exchange naira for dollars. So where you will approach? You will approach to an international bank. So the first function of the international banking is currency exchange. Number 2 is cross-border payments. So as far as the cross-border payments is concerned, they help people and businesses send money across countries safely. So for example, if a worker in Dubai wants to send money to family in India, they can use international banks for that. The other function of international banking is they helps in trade finance. That is, they helps businesses buy and sell goods and services internationally. If you quote one example for this, if a Nigerian company, let us assume, imports rice from Thailand, a bank guarantees payment to the seller. So this international bank can also act as a guarantor here. So that facilitate in trade financing. They also helps in loans and investment. So international banks lend money to businesses and governments for various international projects. For example, an Indian bank funds the construction of roads in Africa. So you might be knowing many projects are going on in the countries like Africa. They are basically funded by the international banks. So another function of the international banks are they also helps in futures, or they also operates in future and options. Next, they also helps companies in merger and acquisitions. They helps in underwriting and placement of euro bonds. They also facilitate in providing overdraft facilities, and they also act as agents in syndicated loans. These are the some other functions which are performed by the international banks in the current scenario. Now let us assume what are the different types of international banks. Friends, international banks can operate while using different form of business organization. So first of all, let me explain what are the various forms of business organization or organization in which the international banks basically operates. So number 1 is they can perform their business in the form of resident representative. Number 2, in the form of bank agencies. Number 3, they can operate in the form of foreign branches. They can have foreign subsidiaries, and they can also have consortium banks. That is, what is consortium banks? They are basically the joint venture of large banks. So these are the forms of business organizations, types of business organizations through which the international banks operate. So what are they? I am just repeating this. They can form their operations by in the form of foreign resident representatives. Number 2, bank agencies. Number 3, foreign branches. Number 4, foreign subsidiaries. And last not but the least, in the form of consortium banks. So what are the different types of international banks, friend? So number 1 is retail banks. The international banks may be in the form of retail banks. They can help with accounts, remittances, and small loans for the individuals. For example, HSBC Bank and Standard Chartered Bank, you might have seen, they are also operating in Indian continent also. Number 2 is commercial banks, which are basically for the businesses. So they offer loans and financial services like, for example, Citibank and JP Morgan Chase. Now, third one is investment banks. These investment banks are basically for the big companies and governments. So they basically help in raising money and managing risk. In very nutshell, they helps in IPO management. For example, few of the international banks are Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. So you might have gone through these names. They are the big banks. Fourth one is there are few central banks which also operate in other for countries. They operate for the countries. Like for India, it is Reserve Bank of India. They control interest rates, print money, and manage inflation. Their job is to maintain balanced growth in the economy. For example, there is Central Bank of USA, which is also known as Federal Bank. For India, it is Reserve Bank of India, and there is also a European Central Bank. There is another type of international bank which is also known as offshore banks. So what they are located, basically these offshore banks are located in tax friendly places, used by companies and wealthy individuals. These wealthy individuals are also known as HNIs, high net worth individuals. For example, the banks which are operating in Switzerland or Cayman Islands. Beyond these, friends, I would like to quote some of the names of the international banks which are operating in India. They are Citibank of USA, Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation of United Kingdom, UK, Standard Chartered Bank of UK, Deutsche Bank of Germany, Barclays Bank of UK, JP Morgan Bank of USA, Bank of America from USA, BNP Paribas from France, and DBS Bank of Singapore. So these are the few examples of the banks which are operating in India, and they also provide the international banking services. So I have quoted this name so that you can connect that these are the banks which are few of the Indian banks also, friends, which are public sector banks like Bank of Baroda. It is also known as India's International Bank, Punjab National Bank, State Bank of India. These are all the public sector undertakings. They are the public sector banks, but they are also the international banks because they have their functions across the countries. So not only the foreign banks are the international banks, but many prestigious Indian public sector banks are also operating in the international bank international banking area. So friends, now let us see how international banking helps the economy, any economy. Number one, they help in supporting global trade. They helps in supporting global trade. They helps in making buy and selling across countries easy. Number two, they helps in encouraging investment in the economy because they helps businesses grow by providing funding, various types of funding, like they provide funding in the form of venture capital. They also provide funds in the form of angel investment and all that. So there are various types of funding facilities which these international banks basically provides. Now, how international banking helps the economy? There are some other few points also. They helps in creating jobs because these banks employ millions of people globally. And the fourth important thing is that they help in stabilizing economy. How they helps in stabilizing the economy? They helps prevent financial crisis by providing liquidity. Friends, you might be knowing that one of the most important job of a bank is to provide funds. They helps in fulfilling the liquidity requirement. So it ultimately leads to stabilizing the economy. There are some real life examples which I would like to share with you all, friends. That is, during COVID-19, you might have seen that these international banks provided emergency loans to businesses worldwide, helping them survive economic challenges. We have seen lot of economic challenges which not only the companies but countries also faced. So these international banks, during COVID-19, they help the countries and companies also to stabilize their organization or their operations. Now, but beyond going to the challenges, friend, let us see what are the other importance of international banking. So they help in currency exchange and stability that we have already discussed. They also facilitate in bringing the international economies together. We know, friends, why international banking have increased in the last 20 to 25 years. And we know that Indian economy is now a global economy. It has coupled with the world economy. So in India also, we have been observing that lot of the mergers and acquisitions are going on in the public sector banking. Earlier, there are 19 public sector banks, but now we can see that there are only 12. in times to come, we might see that there might be only 4 or 5 big banks which will operate in India. Why big banks? Why these big banks are required for the Indian economy? Because India is dreaming of Viksit Bharat 2047. So Viksit Bharat 2047 is not only a dream, friends, it is also a responsibility of all of us. So in order to achieve the Viksit Bharat, developed India vision of 2047, we need big banks, we need international banks. So you might see that there will be lot of merger and acquisitions which will go on in times to come, and India may observe only 4 to 5 banks, big banks, which will operate in order to fund the large and big projects. Friends, now coming to the next slide, what are the challenges in international banking? The first challenge for the international banking is they help in maintaining the currency fluctuations. That is, exchange rate change. We know that exchange rate changes daily, and which also affects the businesses. So this international banking has a challenge how to stabilize the currency fluctuations. So they have a big challenge because they operate in different nations. The nations have their own currencies. There are different exchange rates. Okay, so currency fluctuation is one of the most important challenge which basically these international banks faces. Number 2 is regulations. Friends, international banks not only are governed by the laws of the land where they are operating, but also from the laws of their country from there they origin. So origin means if a international bank is from India, like Bank of Baroda, if it is operating in Germany, so it has to follow 2 different rules and regulations. The laws of India and the laws of the land of Germany will apply. So it becomes more complex. So regulations from the both countries, home and host country, makes the job of the international banking very challenging. Number 3 is fraud and money laundering. Friends, criminals may try to hide illegal money. So banks follow strict rules like anti-money laundering, which is also known as AML. So fraud and money laundering is one of the challenge. You might be knowing that there is lot of exchange of money among the criminals worldwide, because the criminal not only the trade has internationalized, but also the criminal activities have been also internationalized. The criminals have international operations. So this is one of the important, you can say, challenge with the international banking faces. Next one is financial crisis. Friends, dear learners, we know that a crisis in one country can affect global markets. The countries are basically coupled with each other. We cannot imagine a country which has a closed economy. Now almost all the countries in the world have open economy. The countries have international relations with the rest of the world. So if there is any crisis in another country worldwide, any place, it is going to impact the operations. So friends, financial crisis is one of the challenge you can see which the international banks basically go through. There are, friends, I have also discussed that this international banking basically helps. Let us conclude it. This international banking basically helps businesses, individuals, institutions, and governments manage money across borders. It also helps in expanding the global trade, making economy viable and stable. It also helps in it also drives economic growth and connects the world financially. Friends, the international banking operation, for conducting, being a manager in an international bank if you aspire for becoming a manager in the international bank, you should have different types of skills, and these skills requires that you should have good sense of what is the global trade going on, how, what are the various factors which affects the economic growth. You need to know what are the challenges, like there are various cultural challenges which a manager has to face if you are part of an international bank as a manager. And because the international banks are connected worldwide, you should have good skills, not only the technical skills but also the social skills and conceptual skills. Okay, social skills here, friends, means you should have good interpersonal skills. Next, what are the future trends, friend? Because we know the technology is changing like anything. Technology is changing like anything. It is changing in a fast phase. We have been observing that artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, all these new technologies are going to be part of banking operations. So, the future trend may be the digital banking and blockchain are changing international banking. So, these artificial intelligence, machine learning, blockchain technology, digital banking, these things are basically affecting the international banking. These will be basically embedded in times to come in the international. Already the artificial intelligence and machine learning are part of the international banking operations. So there are various cryptocurrencies, friends, you might be knowing, like Bitcoin, which may play a bigger role in the future. So cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, they are also in future, you will find that they will play a bigger role in the future. Now, final thought, friends, whether you are a student, you are a business person or investor, understanding international banking is key to global success, because with the help of international banking financial services, you can procure cheap funds from the international financial markets. You can employ them in different business in different countries, as well as you can diversify your risk by investing those procured funds in different countries and different companies. So if as a player in the international banking, you can diversify your risk. It is one of the most important thing. So friends, the closing line is that banking connects the world wherever money flows and opportunity flow. We know, friends, time is money and money is magnet. All the economy basically it operates on money, which is also known as Arth Tantra, Arth Shastra. So international banking is one of the important chapter which all these you as a learner should know something about basics of the international banking. So if a bank operates in the international environment, it becomes an international bank, and international banks have much more functions, much more challenges, much more bigger future than the banks which are operating in the domestic markets. So dear learners, dear friends, I hope that international banking as a subject is going to play a bigger role in your career. So if you are not, even though if you are not aspiring career in the international banking, if you are thinking of going abroad, you should have knowledge of international banking operations, international banking functions, because it will make your job easy. So friend, this is all from my side, and I hope the basics of international banking which I have discussed today will help you a lot, and I will be happy to connect with you all in future on this particular subject. Today I have discussed about the basics of international banking, but in another lectures I will discuss about the complex things which the international banking student must know. So thank you to all of you. Happy learning to one and all. Thank you.